Communist manifesto, gorillas in the midst of Guevara and Emanesto.
Welcome back. Oakland is. The gang is back with you. We got Judah, Marcus, Ray, A-Trav. All happy to be here. Happy to have you with us. A little bit of housekeeping to get to before we get to the show. If you are on Instagram, you have an Instagram account, you can go ahead and give us a follow. We do have an Instagram account. It's Oakland_is, Oakland_is. So you can, see clips from the show. And also, whatever platform you're listening to this podcast on, be sure to subscribe so you can get the new episodes automatically downloaded and all that. And I guess with that, how's everybody feeling?
Good, man.
Back, episode number 2.
How you feeling, bro?
Yes, sir. Back at it, man.
We ready? Are we emotionally ready for today's episode?
We gonna find out, bro.
We gonna
Find out, man.
Okay. Well, before we get to that, today's episode is brought to you by the memory of the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum Complex. Now, I should say the Coliseum Complex is still there. And actually some interesting stuff is going on with it, some new ownership and whatnot. But that's not what this episode is brought to you by. This episode is brought to you by your memories of going to Oracle Arena, seeing the Warriors, going to Coliseum, seeing the Raiders and the A's, or watching on TV, right? Watching Sebastian Janikowski kicking field goals off of dirt infield, right? Like, that's what this episode is brought to you by. Man. So, before we go too much further, anybody got any Oakland, Oracle Arena, Coliseum memories they want to share?
I think we all have a lot. I mean, we've all been to over 500 games, A's games, ton of Raiders games, ton of Warriors games. But y'all probably already know where I'm going. One of my favorite memories, my dad took the three of us, me, Ray, and Judah, to the A's game. Judah,
when was this? Like what year?
Judah, when was your leg broke?
That was probably 95.
95, okay. So we're sitting along the third base line. So we're kind of like shallow left field, right? Mark McGwire, who at that time was my favorite baseball player.
Yeah.
Wait, no, Barry was already here. We don't keep that out. But Mark McGwire was either my first or second favorite player at that time.
Yeah.
This dude hit a foul ball straight to us, right? This fool, Judah.
You had gloves, right?
Nah, we didn't have no gloves.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So Judah's like, there goes the ball. There goes the ball. He sees it the whole way, right? Yeah. And the rest of us are like, where? He's like, right there. He's the only one that can't move. And I think I was on the end. The ball must have bounced like 4 seats away from me.
You didn't get it?
I did not get it. So
man, I feel like...
grown person.
Okay, yeah, you were kids,
etiquette.
Though. You were kids.
Poor baseball. Give the balls to the kids, grown people. Unless you're on a date, Nah, but besides that, give it to the kids. A grown man came to snatch the ball up, which, he beat me to it. But I was like, damn, man, I could have had a Mark McGwire baseball. I think Judah was probably mad for like 4 or 5 minutes. He wasn't saying shit.
I was going to say,
I would have got that, mother.
I feel like I've seen a woman holding a baby on SportsCenter catch a foul ball. You know what I'm saying? But, you were kids. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, no shade.
Yeah.
Man, we can go a lot of different places because we all were big, A's, Warriors, and Raider fans. So, we got different experiences at all these different events and whatnot. For me, one thing that sticks out, I'll probably say the thing that sticks out to me the most, because this was kind of like in the peak of going to A's games. And so we used to go to a lot of A's games. And I would say we may have went to like 15 of the 20 game win streak.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
We went to a lot of them. Mm-hmm. We were at the 20th game against the Royals. So when they played against the Kansas City Royals, when they won the 20th.
That was the Moneyball streak.
It was. So, we was there.
Yeah.
And then they had to come back. They were up at first, and then Kansas City put up like 10 runs or something, and then they did the walk-off at the end, Sky Hatterberg.
Hatterberg.
And all of that. And so, we were at that game. I remember being there, watching that game, and I'll never forget. I went to jail the next day.
Did not go to 21.
And I remember reading the paper and seeing that the streak was broken and stuff. And I was like, they lost that next game and stuff. And I was like, damn. I don't know. It felt like I had a connection, honestly. It really felt like I had a connection with the team. And it was like, oh, I went down and so did A's.
Okay, I was trying to figure out where you guys take it. I got you though.
That was a good one. Oh, it's hilarious. Hey,
Well, yeah.
That's all right.
Man, memories, man. Just piggyback off what you were saying, we have been to like the majority of the home games during the 20-game streak, and I remember, you know what I'm saying, it was like one of the like, I don't know what number game it was, but Miguel Tejada
that walk-off?
hit that walk-off, and we was like sitting along the third base line. Man, it was amazing because it was just like, you heard the ball off the crack of the bat.
Yeah.
Boom. And then everybody just went crazy. But,
You know,
left field was going crazy too. The
drum section, we had all the
Stomper going
instruments.
crazy.
Yeah.
But somebody used to be out there just playing a trumpet on some just random. Like,
Was he affiliated with the team, or he was just
he was a fan.
He was a fan, just doing his thing.
Right. Just some random time. He
Hey,
was
man,
playing.
you gotta realize though, on a Wednesday, tickets was $1.
Right.
Tuesdays, it was $2. Taco Tuesdays, $1 Wednesdays.
Yeah.
So anybody was welcome. You could be walking down the street and like, no, I'm gonna go to the baseball game.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, the A's, so it was all our teams, right? It was all Oakland. We had the Raiders, the Warriors, and the A's. But it was just like, the Raiders is a big brand, right? Raiders got a lot of fans nationwide, and so and plus they've been to LA and all this stuff, and so they got fans all over the place.
Yeah.
Warriors kind of similar too. Not that they have fans all over, but kind of like they played in San Francisco.
Yeah, they're the Bays team.
And they're the Bays team.
Yeah.
Exactly. I can say for me, the A's really felt like our team. For like that was our thing.
Yeah.
And it was so unique with like you said, the way they were playing. Excuse me. We had the chants. They had the different cheers. I remember it was one year. It was a different cheer for like almost all the starters. Y'all remember that? Remember Tejada had a cheer.
Yeah.
Scooter Rowe had
Absolutely.
one. Like all these different players. T-Long. Yeah. All these players had an individual chant that when they came up to bat.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, and so it was just like, man, that was really our thing. And so me personally, I love all those teams, but I would have to say I resonate the most with the A's, kind of because of that. Like, it just, it felt like it was more, that was real Oakland. Like Raiders, you had a lot of LA Raider fans, and there's Raider fans all over the world.
Yeah.
Kind of, and like I said, similar with the Warriors, but with the A's,
I feel like that was ours.
definitely.
Yeah, because, the Raiders are from Oakland, but we weren't there to witness
They got a big
winning
history
in the 70s and the history in the 70s.
Yeah.
Like, mind you, they won when I was born. That was 44 years ago.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we were only exposed to the culture like after, you know what I'm saying, Los Angeles and everything. It was like 95.
That's
when they came back.
We're going to get to all that.
Yeah.
Yep,
So
yep. If you haven't figured it out yet, the title of today's show, Oakland is a professional sports desert. Now, I should say that Oakland does have a couple of professional sports teams still. So we have the Oakland Roots.
Oakland Roots.
Which is and I didn't even know this. So they play basically in like the second division of soccer. So like Major League Soccer MLS is like the top division, but they're basically the second division. But it's still they're not like amateur, right?
For sure.
We got the Roots, and we got the Ballers. Who, for those who don't know, the Ballers basically were created when the A's, in response to the A's announcing their intention to leave. So now we got the Oakland Bees. But they're also professional. They're they play in the Pioneer
independent.
League. Exactly, partly independent.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we should say that,
For sure.
Just to be clear. But when you talk about the top division, 4 major clubs, we used to have 3. So I believe, let's see, I think the Raiders left first in 19. Is that right? And then Warriors, I want to say, left in 20. A's left about a week ago.
About a week ago.
And that's what brings us to where we are right now. So we're going to talk about it.
Heartbreak.
But there's a lot of different ways we could do this episode. I mean, we're talking about 3 teams. Like, this could be a really long. This could be 3 different episodes, honestly.
Exactly.
Right? But we thought a good way to kind of kick it off will be with a little bit of setting the stage, like historically speaking. You know what I'm saying? To kind of get us from where things started to where we are now, and do a little bit of reminiscing. So we're gonna do that, and it started for all 3 teams all the way back 6 decades ago, almost 7, in the 60s. So I'm gonna just run kind of through the timeline, and folks can kind of call out what they want. So 1960, the Raiders formed as part of the AFL, but they're playing in San Francisco at the time.
Where were they playing at in San Francisco?
So they played a few different places. I know they played at Candlestick.
They played at Kezar?
Yes, that's where they started.
Okay.
Exactly. So they started at Kezar, and then they played a little bit at Candlestick. 62, they start playing their first games in Oakland, but it's not the Coliseum yet, because I don't think that's been constructed. I think it comes in like 66, but they start playing some games in Oakland. At the same time, so there's also 62, the Warriors move from Philly and become the San Francisco Warriors, right? So this is like Wilt Chamberlain, that whole squad. So they got they're a good team, and now they're moving to the Bay Area, to San Francisco specifically. A year later, a name that might ring some bells, Al Davis.
Just win, baby.
Exactly. Al Davis becomes a head coach, right? Immediately changed the colors from silver to black. I mean, to silver and black. Yeah, go for it.
What were the original colors?
Ooh, I should know this because I was looking at it while I was researching for this. I think it was like gold and silver and black, or it was like gold and white and silver, something like that.
Silver and black with a gold.
With a gold, exactly. Yeah. So he changed it to silver and black. He also introduced like the Just Win Baby, commitment to excellence, all of that. That came from him. 66. So 66, he leaves briefly. So he's the head coach. He leaves to become the commissioner of the AFL, right? But then the AFL NFL merger happens, and then he comes back. But now he comes back as part. Yeah, exactly, right? Comes back as part owner and I believe general manager.
Yeah.
That sounds right. Mm-hmm. So that's 66. Okay, so we got the Warriors playing in Frisco. We got the Raiders back, Al Davis back. 68, the A's come over from Kansas City, right? So now you kind of got all 3 teams in this area. And then the last thing I call out from the 60s, 1969, John Madden becomes the head coach, right? So I kind of
Boom.
exactly. Tough acting to acting.
I got a great John Madden story for y'all.
Oh yeah.
Whenever you're ready.
Well, I mean, do we want to?
No. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So this is like the calm before the storm, right? Like the players are the major players are being introduced, right? Mm-hmm. Al Davis, John Madden, these sort of future Hall of Famers, right? This is just Coach Madden right now. This is just GM Al Davis. But now you got all 3 teams in the area. And then we get to the 70s, and that's when it went crazy. So 71, the Warriors move to Oakland Arena and start playing all their games exclusively. I think before that they had played some. They were playing kind of all over, predominantly in San Francisco.
They were playing
That's
in
kind of how they got
Palace.
the Golden State
Well, that's what happened.
Exactly.
That's what happened.
because they played in San Diego.
San Diego.
Yeah. They played all around the state.
Yeah.
That's why they were never.
So they were still
Well,
San
they
Francisco
were at
Warriors when that was happening. But when they moved to Oakland, that's
They
when they
became the
changed
Golden
it. They
State
changed it to
Warriors.
Golden State Warriors.
And they were the nomadic, traveling team, whatever.
So that's 71. So now 72, 73, 74, the A's win back-to-back-to-back world championships, World Series titles, right?
One of only 2 teams to ever do that.
Yeah, so that's like think about the magnitude of that, right? So at the same time, right, the Raiders are I believe they're winning their division every year. I think they won their division every year from like 71 to 76 or something like that, right? So that's that same 3-year span, the Raiders division champs every year. Okay, so that's 72 to 74. 75, the Warriors win the title. Right? So this is like the Rick Barry, like this is that title basically.
Yeah, we'll be free.
Right? Yeah, there you go. Okay, so you got the A's winning titles, you got the Warriors winning the title 75. So 76, the Raiders win a title. Right? Like I think I knew about all these things, but when I was setting up for this show and just like reading through the dates and be like, oh, 72, 74, this, and then 75, okay, and then like
Oakland was lit.
Yeah.
That's my point.
As far as sports goes.
No, that was the
kicking
that
ass.
was
I can't even, I can't imagine a 5-year span where you win a title every year. You know what I'm saying? At least one across 3 different sports.
Yeah, that's
like
crazy.
I don't think that's happened. I mean, I know Boston had some. It was
They
some
won
title town stuff for a while.
Football and basketball the same year. Football.
Yeah.
Actually, I think they won all 3. They won hockey, football, and
Yeah. So a little bit, but and I think in when the Warriors were doing their thing in the 2010s and the Giants were also winning every other year. It was kind of similar, but I think 3 titles in a row in baseball, then a title in basketball, then a title in football. I can't even imagine how, just what the energy was like. You know what I'm saying? Like being a fan, the pride, all of that.
We were spoiled, man, because, I mean, even growing up, like, I don't know what it's like to have a sorry-ass team. You know what I'm
You're
saying?
talking about when you're
As a child, like, even when your parents
no
were
doubt.
educating you to sports, like, nah, we the champs. Like, nigga, everything we do is good.
Yeah.
You know
it was
what I'm saying?
definitely a championship pedigree.
Exactly.
in Oakland for sure.
Hell
because
yeah.
so we're growing up in the '80s. We're young kids outside playing baseball and basketball, football all the time, and that was there was a championship legacy because it was not too far removed when they was just winning all these championships and the teams were still decent, right? And so you felt that
that was the backdrop to our upbringing. Was like
It was.
like the tough, hard nosed Raiders with Madden and all that.
Exactly.
And the same deal with the A's.
But, like, even though the motto was just win, baby, it was like you expected teams to win. Like, when they lost, it was a surprise. Like, what's going on? Like,
yeah.
How far we've come.
Yeah.
Or followed.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, I mean, by us, look, and then we grew up without, at a time, we weren't getting that amount of success, right? Now, the A's were still, the teams were still decent, but they weren't they started winning some championships a little later when we, like, in our lives, right? We got 89 was the first one and stuff like that. So just imagine, like you said, the vibe in the 70s, or just imagine if we grew up then, because we grew up, we're huge sports fans without seeing them championships as a kid, right?
Exactly.
If just imagine how those folks were.
Didn't tell us nothing.
Yeah, you were locked in with A's, Warriors, and Raiders. If you were East Bay guy,
Right.
for sure.
Yeah.
It's like the Warriors run from 15 to 22 on steroids. Because
it's all 3 teams. Yeah,
Right.
it's like that, and then also having
Right.
2 other teams doing.
Oh yeah, wait till the
the
baseball season comes. Wait
right,
till
we're gonna smash them.
we
that's
never.
a good point.
We never had that.
All right, so that's the 70s, right? Now we jump into the 80s, which you were just talking about, and the Raiders and A's are still dominant, right? So you got 1980, Raiders win the Super Bowl, right? So this is Jim Plunkett, right? So Stabler left, Jim Plunkett comes in. I believe he replaced the injured. I forget who the quarterback he replaced was, but he came and replaced him, led him to the Super Bowl. But then 2 years later, Raiders moved down to L.A., right? So, Davis, I think he wanted to put luxury boxes in and the city wasn't with it. He
Tried to sue the NFL, that one?
Yeah, and then he won. Right?
Well, he won twice.
Yeah,
He sued him a few times.
yeah. But anyway, that's what paved the way for the move down to LA. So you were mentioning earlier, like, you know, when we were kids, the Raiders weren't here. So I know a lot of you know, a lot of my peers and stuff who they were Niner fans growing up because that was the team that was here. You know what I'm saying?
All 3 of us were.
Right.
Yeah, we grew up.
One of us still are. You feel me?
So sorry for you.
Well, yeah, whatever.
But
That's another show.
yeah.
Beyond the Niners history, goddamn.
But so 82 Raiders moved down there. 83 they win down there, right? Now I think this is interesting because I feel like that was important to kind of cementing or continuing their legacy, right? Because they were already a good team. You know, they were this hard-nosed team. The fact they go down there and they win a championship, that was the year that Marcus Allen ran all over the Redskins.
That was the Redskins.
Yeah.
Now the Commanders.
Yeah. So I think that was probably really important to kind of cementing that what you call Raider Nation, like building up that fan base that basically then followed them, you know.
Yeah, you got championships
when they came
in
back
2
up here, they
cities.
still have fans in LA.
So yeah,
Exactly. So that was 83. Get to the later 80s. I'll just call a couple things out. So 85, Warriors draft Chris Mullin.
man, the baby bird,
Brooklyn's finest.
There you go.
St. John's.
88, they draft Mitch Richmond. So you might see where I'm going with this. Right. Also 88, the A's make the World Series. They lose to the Dodgers, right? So they're coming back. So this is the last World Series run was 72, 74. So now we're in 88. They make the World Series again, lose to the Dodgers. 89, they win the World Series. This is the
Earthquake
against the Giants, right? So I think they swept them.
They did. So
Battle of the Bay.
they had 2 games. A's won the first 2. Earthquake happened. I think there was a week
Earthquake
and a half.
happened in Game 3.
Yeah,
No.
before the game started.
So then there was like a 10-day layoff or something like that. The A's reset their rotation and came back with the top of their rotation.
Nah, let them know who
So
you
did
had
the
to
Giants.
face. Let them know who you had to face, man. You had to face
there's
Bob
Stewart
Welsh and
and
Dave Stewart.
Stewart.
Yeah. And so
Twice.
Yeah.
You're not winning.
it was good night, Irene.
Yeah.
That's wild. I didn't even think about that aspect of it.
Yeah.
So they lost 88, they won 89. Also 89, the Warriors draft Tim Hardaway. So now they've officially assembled
UTEP.
Run TMC.
Yeah.
You know, the NBA Jam legends, Run TMC. I personally don't remember a ton about Run TMC. I was young when they were here, and I think Richmond left in like '91, so it was only like a year and a half.
Yeah,
that it was a
they
thing.
won in 92 or something like that.
Yeah, but I
Still
mean,
fine to
that
remember.
out of that year, man, they was
firing
the
off.
hottest
Yeah, they was-
tickets out, man. That was the hottest ticket in the NBA. That was the best show you can see, man.
Right.
Like, I mean, name a team like Ja Morant in Memphis or just any high-flying, entertaining team you could think of. Man, Run TMC was...
It was also kind of different because a lot of teams was built around defense at the time, right?
Exactly.
And they would just come out like, you know what, we just gonna outscore you.
Yep. And not even a big team, but they were fast, they were scrappy, and they were smart. You know what I'm saying? And they had an amazing staff, like an amazing cast, man. Like, you know, Billy Owens, Sharonis Marshall-Lonis. You know what I'm saying?
Tim Hardaway with that killer crossover,
Tim
man.
Hardaway. Yeah, of course. Run
Was he the
TMC.
first, like with the crossover, like
He
that?
made it popular, yeah.
That's what I feel
He
like
was
because
the
when I
one.
was a kid, like crossing people over, that was like the thing. You know what I'm saying?
that
But I feel
power
like
cross.
Yeah.
He definitely was one of the first.
He was one of the first
He made it
ones.
famous.
He had his
made it,
own
like,
kind of version.
Yeah.
Because
But
it was
I mean, people always been.
Hey, but
you
Trent
know, you go
Tucker, I ain't
say
gonna lie,
big
Trent
but-
Tucker out of the Knicks, he was nice too.
Yeah, I
with
can't say
that.
he created,
You know what
but
I'm
he
saying?
definitely had his
There was
own.
a couple old school cats, but Tim, his was deadly.
He had that. It
You know
was
what I'm
real
saying?
quick. Just
It was
bop, bop.
deadly.
Yeah, you're talking
You know
about
what I'm saying?
Hardaway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. It was the deadliest. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was so deadly, he fucked his knee up.
It was, you know, Iverson kind
I was gonna
of.
say, yeah.
Iverson kind of bring the ball up here with it, just wow. But
His
Tim
was
Tim
just
Hardaway had
right
that
now.
quick, boom, boom, and he was
exactly.
gone. Yeah.
Yeah. And he could drive off of it. He could stop on a dime. Man, he was amazing, bro. Tim Hardaway was amazing.
Mm-hmm. All right, so that's 89. So now we get into the 90s, right? Now, mind you, the A's are coming off back-to-back World Series appearances. Mm-hmm. So what do they do in 90? They make it back to the World Series. Mm-hmm. They lose again, but this is 3 straight World Series again after they did it from 72 to 74. So 72 to 74, they won all 3. 88 to 90, they win 1, but they still make it 3 times. Like, that's wild. Like and this was, who was on the 80? That was Canseco, McGuire, right?
McGuire.
Yeah.
Henderson. You had Hindu.
Yep.
You had Henderson and remember Dave Henderson
and Rickey
Henderson. Dave Parker.
They was loaded. But that 90 Red team was nasty.
Rick Honeycutt.
Who was a closer?
Eckersley.
Dennis. Yeah.
Eckersley, yeah.
I think I got a signed Eckersley ball now that I think about it.
That's nice.
When I was a kid.
Yeah, they were raw, man. They were raw.
That Reds team was nasty, though. I mean,
we beat up on a big red machine in the 70s, so.
Yeah, that was their get back.
Yeah. All right, so now we're kind of entering the 90s, right? And this is where, things slow down a little bit. So 95, Raiders come back, right? Also, the Warriors draft Joe Smith. I don't know if you got anybody.
Wait a minute. What?
Is that a highlight or a low light?
Right.
What?
Yo, that's
You mentioned Joe Smith. Wait. We're not mentioning Joe Smith no more.
We had the number 1
All
pick.
right.
This was, so I was 9 at the time.
Bro, this
right?
is furious. You're making my blood pressure go up, Kim. like I can't do it.
He was the first, like, as a kid, I think I might have had, I think I might have met him. It was something, like I had some kind of connection with.
Vividly remember this.
Well, I remember something about Joe Smith.
This is triggering my PTSD. This is why I'm a Lakers fan right now, man.
Yeah, we're gonna have to bleep that out.
Because that's not true, but
I'm just saying it's a part of it.
Anyways, all right. So 95. What was it? Oh yeah, Warriors draft Joe Smith.
Man, first of like many messed up drafts, man. That's when I started kind of remembering the sports, right?
The
like Ray and Judah
you blocked this out, right? Like, I blocked it out.
Trauma. It's trauma, man.
Ike Diago. Ugh.
it's been so many. Joe Smith was a solid player, but he just wasn't.
He wasn't the number 1 pick.
He was the number 1 pick, but Ike Diago was like 8.
Yeah, he was like 7.
And then when you see the names that were like available,
Anthony Randolph,
Patrick O'Brien.
God.
I mean,
That's not.
look, the Timberwolves drafted 2 point guards ahead of Steph Curry.
that was legendary trash.
Right.
That was historical. That was some of the historically worst drafting of all time. Minnesota, they took 2 point guards in front of Curry.
Yeah.
Hey, but Johnny Flynn was nice, bro.
Was he?
Bro,
He was nice.
He was at Syracuse.
Curry's still in the league.
Nah, he is,
Johnny
but
Flynn
at the
was nice in
time,
college.
I mean, but
he
I can't fault Minnesota. Johnny Flynn was
I'm
nice.
not
And Ricky
hating
Rubio?
on Johnny
He
Flynn.
was
I'm
there,
just
right?
saying.
Ricky Rubio on that. They was tripping.
Ricky
You
Rubio.
already know how I feel about Ricky
wasn't that the
Rubio.
Rubio draft? Was it?
Rubio.
Yeah, they took Rubio and then they took
Yeah.
Flynn.
Flynn.
Yeah. Johnny Flynn was balling though. He
You would
was a
take 2
baller.
guards,
Yeah.
and overlook this one guy named Wendell.
Yeah. Wardell.
Wardell.
I'm glad they overlooked Wardell. My bad.
Yeah, man. The one draft that had me upset, which in hindsight turned out to be pretty good, was the when we drafted Vince Carter. Oh my goodness! And we traded for Antoine Jameson.
It was not pretty good.
Antoine Jameson was solid, bro.
No, he was a solid
was, and
professional,
it
but
was
he
the
wasn't
playoffs.
Vince Carter.
Right. He had his moments, but it wasn't as bad as the other ones, though.
Nah, Antoine Jameson, that wasn't that bad.
He was a solid pro, but
You know what was
he
a-
was
you know what was a bad one?
compared to Vince, bro.
Yeah, Vinsanity, bro.
Or
Y'all know how I fuck with North Carolina, bro. I remember, bro.
or McGrady. They could have. Didn't they pass on McGrady too?
We could have a whole show
Let's
on
not
the
talk about
Warriors
Warriors
blown
draft.
draft
Yeah,
picks,
oh my
bro.
God.
Hey, they killed it in the second round, though. Monte, Gilbert Arenas, Draymond. They got some boys in the second round.
Okay, so
Hey,
if
man.
you use the first pick like you used the second pick, you might have something.
When you're throwing darts in the dark, something's bound to hit, man.
All right, so 95, or no, what was it? Yeah, 95, draft Joe Smith. Okay, 97, Spreewell chokes PJ Carlissimo. I remember that from when I was a kid.
For sure.
But then we get to the 2000s, right? And now's where some memorable stuff
We just gonna
starts happening.
skip over Sprewell like that?
You do we want to speak on it?
That was iconic. I remember that.
I mean, we ain't even. No, all jokes aside, Sprewell was a baller. He was a baller.
Yeah, he was
a
kind of
baller.
that dude.
He was a baller.
One thing that stand out to me about that was, we were young, and so I didn't really know what to expect. I'm like, damn, he choked the coach. But
Yeah, everybody choked that mother.
I never forget that press conference when he had like the whole team was behind him.
Yeah.
Right. And I was just like,
Because I want to
damn.
choke that motherfucker too.
And so I'm thinking, if all these cats came to support him at his press conference, I said he couldn't have been completely in the wrrong. Yeah, I know the coach did something. So,
But I mean, the media was in a totally different place back then.
right.
Too.
But I remember standing with in my heart, I was riding with Sprewell.
All right, so the 2000s arrive. 2002, Raiders make it to the Super Bowl, right? So this is Gannon, Charlie Garner,
Charlie Hustle.
Jerry Porter, Jerry Rice, Tim Brown. Who else? James Jett, I think. Yeah. No, they had a squad. We're not going to talk about the Super Bowl itself. We don't have to relive that. But I did want to say, like, that Raiders squad for me, like, that was like the Raiders team that I remember. Because we had Gannon for a minute. You know what I'm saying?
Can't forget Charles Woodson.
Woodson too.
Woodson was on that squad.
That was the last really, really, really good
Raiders team, right? And this is 22 years ago.
Yeah.
That's wild.
22.
You're talking about a team that was the winningest football team forever, and the last time they had a really good team was 22 years ago.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But the Raiders had a good run from 2002, similar to like the A's. Mm-hmm. So in 2000, I believe they go. Was that the
Was
A's?
that with Gannon?
Yeah, when Saragusa, they were playing Baltimore.
Yeah.
Saragusa falls on their shoulder.
Yeah, right.
Yep. Marquez Pope takes that bad angle on Shannon Sharp. Takes it 97. That's the game.
Yeah.
They
2001.
arguably could have won that one.
The week before,
2001,
you
the
remember
tough
the week
rule.
before? They beat Miami 23-0 in the playoffs, bro.
Yeah. They were balling.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
2001.
that was a cold Miami team, too.
Yeah, that wasn't no bad
They
team.
had
They
Jason
smashed
Taylor,
them.
Patrick Surtain Sr. on the squad. That was a cold team. Right?
Yeah, man, 2001.
Zach Thomas.
The Tuck rule.
Right.
The Tuck rule broke all our hearts.
It did.
Yeah,
That also furthered the narrative that the league had it in for Al Davis and the Raiders. Because ain't nobody ever heard of no shit.
Or, that's true, but also people said that was the beginning of the little fake, or some people think there's a conspiracy that the league wanted the Patriots to lose.
Hold on. I mean, that play was like, that was some bang, but it wasn't like I don't think they had it in for the Raiders that game.
Nah, bro.
Nah,
That wasn't no bang bang.
Hey, whose side are you on,
We
bro?
all,
Hey,
I don't know. I remember
New England is? Or
Hey,
I remember exactly where I was when I watched that. And I watched that, and the thing about it is, he goes, like, he like pump fake,
tries
or he
to
goes
bring
to
it
throw.
back.
It wasn't a pump fake.
Hey, man, that was a fumble.
It was. He pulled it in.
That was a fumble
he did
every
throw.
time.
He decided not to
Twice
throw.
on Sunday.
He pulled it back. He got hit. He dropped the ball. That's
Right
a fumble.
before
Your eyes don't lie to you.
2001.
Like, you got hit.
I'm just
and he
saying,
fumbled.
if you're trying to rig the game, you're not gonna. It's not gonna be like that. You know what I mean?
And that's another episode, man. The Patriots rigging games. And we
That's
go
true.
for flat balls.
No,
we
that's
go
true.
like,
I'm
you know
not
what
saying that.
But
I'm just saying that's a
that's neither
conspiracy
here nor
theory out there. I'm not trying to say that that's what it was or
Yeah, I
that's
got
what I
you.
think.
Yeah.
But some people did
Some people's
say
opinion.
Right.
But for sure, so then 2002, like John Gruden goes to the
finally
Bucks.
break through.
Yeah.
He knows all the personnel, all the plays, all the tendencies.
Bill Callahan doesn't even change up the verbiage.
Doesn't change
they
up
keep
shit.
the same
Yeah.
or they
I
keep
don't
the same
understand that.
plays and
Shouldn't
everything.
that disqualify you from coaching?
Well,
yeah,
that's why he went to college.
Not the NFL.
He didn't coach the NFL no more.
Right, yeah. And
He
then we
went back
got
to college.
Yeah.
Something that's
Struggles.
hella weird, and it's just maybe just some random stuff. But Raider fans always feel like everything is going against
conspiracy.
us, right? It's always conspiracy. So there's always a week in between The Super Bowl, bro.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
You have the last week of the season.
Yeah.
I mean, excuse me. You have the championship week,
Yeah.
AFC and NFC championship.
that buffer
Then
week.
there's a week off, and then there's a Super Bowl. That year,
Oh, it was only one.
there was no delay in between. There was no week
right.
off.
Right.
It was It was the AFC. It was the championship week. The next week it was a Super Bowl.
It wasn't the Pro Bowl.
After the Pro Bowl was the week
Pro Bowl
after.
was
after that.
Yeah.
Okay. Huh, that's wild.
And then, so there wasn't even when you had a situation like Barry Robbins, when he going through some mental stuff, there still would have been time to get him back together. You know what I mean? And so,
Hopefully,
you know,
yeah.
so we always feel, because
he was
coming
wrong.
up, you mentioned earlier that Al Davis sued the NFL a few times. And so there was also another running theme that because of that, the Raiders they always got back home.
Yeah, so, you know, we blame the NFL for burning down Oakland, you know, that February night of 2002.
Yeah, that was a call.
Yeah,
That was a call.
yeah.
We had fun.
Well, we're gonna get into if Oakland is a baseball town or
we're
a
gonna
football
talk about
town
all
or basketball. We'll get into that a little later, but I think that's part of that's some proof there that for me.
To support your argument?
Yeah.
Okay, for sure. We're going to see.
Because they never tripped like that on baseball or basketball.
you talking about that Raider game, yeah?
Super Bowl.
Of course.
Burnt the East down.
Burnt the East down,
Burnt the
man.
town down.
I
Like
got
you
hit.
couldn't even get off the
Bro,
freeway. You had to go to Richmond.
I remember.
Like you couldn't even get off in
I
Berkeley.
got hit with the tear gas bomb. Remember that?
Yeah.
I do.
Okay, we're coming up.
We'll get to it.
Like tear gas.
All right, but while we're on 2002, this is in the midst of the Moneyball A's, right? And this is actually the season that was featured in the movie.
Shout out to the Moneyball team because I feel like that iteration of the A's really brought forth analytics to the sports world.
That's true.
And not only did they like apply analytics, they didn't just rely on it, right? So they just used the data to their advantage, right? And they still, like, I believe Art Howe was the manager, so you had an old school manager who still relied on instinct, right? So it wasn't just like cut and paste. This is what the numbers say. Like, no, we're going to use these numbers, but we're still going to play baseball, and that's why the A's, in my opinion, was so successful during that run.
Can I ask, as a fan, how did you feel? Because at the time, like I'm not a huge baseball fan, so like I knew what was going on, but I wasn't like invested emotionally. But like, how did you feel when these players are getting traded away, or it's like, you know, we're making it to the playoffs?
Do you want me to be
lot
like
of
fully
time-
transparent?
Yeah,
Sorry.
Yeah,
that's what we're here for.
Kick it off.
Well, that's when I became like a full-fledged San Francisco Giants fan. I just
So
couldn't.
off the back of that, the Moneyball.
Well, no, just what you asked like about the players leaving and
Got tired
stuff
of
like
seeing
that.
the stars leave.
Got tired of seeing it, and so I think I mentioned earlier in the episode, growing up, like my first introduction to baseball, McGuire was my favorite player.
Yep.
Bash Brothers. Didn't really know that much, but he was like super popular. He was smacking the out of the ball, right? So as a kid, that was dope. Barry Bonds come. Ray has a life-size calendar or a life-size poster of Barry Bonds in the room. And yeah, man, Barry Bonds just became my favorite player. So I was already kind of gradually going over there. But my point is, the A's just started trading away their players, and so it just got difficult to support a team when they weren't fully invested in the team. And so like that started to become more prevalent like as the seasons went on. Right? So like obviously, you know, just in sports in general, like you would like to draft, develop, and re-sign. Right? And so like
They did the first two.
They did the first two good as fuck. So then
They're the best at the first two.
yeah, man.
They couldn't get that third part together.
And so it was just like, damn, are we a AAA team? Like, why are we developing all these
farm
raw-ass
system. For the
players?
Yankees.
For the Yankees. Man.
Man, it gets frustrating when you're watching the playoffs and you see
So
guys that
many.
was balling for your team playing for somebody else.
No, that was the thing. We literally used to watch on some year. If there was a year the A's went in the playoffs, we would be like kind of keeping note, keeping track of all the ex-A's players.
You can still do it to this day. You can watch the playoffs right now and be like, oh yeah, he was an ex-athletic. He was Matt Olson, Max Muncy. Like these guys were like in the playoffs right now that were on the A's, and they just let them go.
So it's tough for the city or for any fan base to rally behind that, you know. But one thing about the Moneyball era was that, in a sense, it was kind of, we had that feeling like we was making something out of nothing, right? And I think that also, excuse me, I think that also resonated with the people of Oakland. Because it's like, that's what we do. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it was like an Oakland thing. And so it's like, we're going to take whatever we got and we're going to make the best out of it. And it was working too. Right. It was working. And so that, even though it worked for successful baseball and but not a championship. It wasn't like successful playoff ball. Yeah. But it was great regular seasons. We watched a whole lot of good baseball. Yeah. But that feeling was serious though, as far as that ability to. It was like we would take players off the scrap heap, and then every year we're bringing up a new rookie. Yep. And this dude turns out to be a baller. Yep. You know, from Tejada to Chavez, Mark Ellis, Gonzalez, who they traded to Carlos Gonzalez. They traded to Colorado. Scooter, like all these. It was
Mulder, Zito, Hudson,
right. And so there's a lot of great talent that was homegrown with the A's, and we just really embraced that because we're like, okay, I remember at one point, it was a long time ago, so the numbers probably sound small now, but the Yankees payroll was like $100 million. The A's was like 40 or 35.
No, I think there was under 30 at one point.
It was had to spend more. It was like y'all have to spend a certain amount or something like that.
No, but the thing was they were competing with these fools.
Yeah. Exactly.
With the Yankees have
under
3 times. They have 3 times the payroll.
Yeah.
And so we was like, we're the underdog. That's what, you know what I'm saying? That's what we do. Yeah. We're a small town, but we do big things.
Yeah, but to your point, I think it was like a gift and a curse because they knew that the fan base appreciated that and they can get away with that. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, we was talking about it before we started, you know what I'm saying, recording, whatever, but it's like, why in the East Bay, you know what I'm saying, why is Oakland considered a small market?
Right. Well,
we're in the
you don't realize we are in the Bay Area, right. But when you say Oakland, right, Oakland is a pretty small city compared to, other big cities. Right, so you look at Chicago or something, right? Chicago is 5 million people. Oakland is 500,000.
Yeah, but I mean, like that's inner Chicago. They also like Chicago land.
That's probably.
But we also got Alameda County. You get what I'm saying?
That's true.
And that's our fan base isn't just 400,000. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
So we got the whole East Bay. We got fans in Hayward. We got fans in San Leandro, all the way up to Richmond, Vallejo,
Sacramento, bro.
Yeah, come on, man. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I'm saying.
All right, so that's 2002. Moneyball is
that was a good time right there.
It was good baseball.
Looking back,
it was just like, I see. Yeah, you got us.
Yeah.
That was that between us 3. It would be some random day. Blood, what you doing today? What you ain't doing nothing? Man, A's playing the Yankees at 7. Blood, y'all want to go?
Let's do it.
We used to go random games, man. Watching Barry Zito strike out 13. You know what I'm saying? With that big hook. Could nobody hit him? Zito motored, man. I know I'm getting along with it. We're gonna move, but those were some great times, bro. That was probably the peak for our A's experience.
For sure.
Most definitely.
Yeah. Okay. So then 2007. That's the We Believe season, right? So the Warriors who've been basically terrible for for 20 years.
No.
Yeah.
Bruh, they were.
The only highlight
They didn't make the
Warriors
playoffs in 19
had
years, bro.
between Run TMC and We Believe was the All-Star game. Nigga, that's the only highlight
bro.
they had.
Hey, in a league where half of the teams make the playoffs,
We were winning 20 games.
we didn't make the playoffs. 19 years, like you gotta try
Hold on,
to
bro.
not make the. Hold on.
Do you remember that story that Ray Allen was telling? Like, he was like, when he was on Boston, I forgot who was on the Warriors when they was telling this story. It was like, all right, we in Golden State, man. Like, I'm not trying to play past the second quarter, nigga.
That's how it was.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Hey, Trav, this how bad it was, right? Because I was like, a diehard Warriors fan, and like,
Yep.
I think everybody knows, like, I like college sports, so college basketball, college football. Man, a month into the season, I'm like, man, who we gonna draft next year?
Yeah.
I'm already looking at the top 10 picks. Like, I already know we gonna have one.
Actually, the We Believe team, that was when I would say for me, that was when I became a diehard fan. But it wasn't because of the We Believe run, right? It was actually, it started at the beginning of that season, and it started because of Baron Davis. So Baron Davis was like my favorite player in the league. And that was because I used to play 2K. And like that's who I would always want to play with because he could do everything. You know, he was a point guard, right? He could cross over, and then he could do like a 360 dunk. He could hit threes. So I was like, this is who I'm playing with, right? So funny story. I think I'm a sophomore in college, and I'm out at a party one night, and somebody's like, "Oh, I know you happy," and I was like, "What?" He's like, "Oh, y'all just got Baron Davis," and I'm like, half groggy and trying to figure. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Groggy.
But
That's what
I realized, we just traded for Baron Davis, and that. So I would say I was a Warrior fan, but more so like just because I'm from the Bay Area, I'm a Warrior fan, right? But I would follow other teams and whatnot. But like that was basically the day where I was like, oh, I'm watching these games. So I had a sling box, which is a piece of technology. I don't think it really exists anymore, but it was a box that you could put on top of your like cable box.
We're that old.
And it would point to like you aimed it at your cable receiver, and then remotely over the internet you could control your cable receiver, and then whatever channel you went to, it would send that signal to your your computer or whatever so you could watch. So I set that up at my granddad's house on a TV in a room that nobody was using, and I was down in LA. Every time there's a Warriors game, I'm flipping that on. I'm watching every game.
Oh, okay.
So that for me, that whole season, I was following the team. Half the previous season, then the whole We Believe season, and then we get to the playoffs.
Do you remember the trade? The kind of.
Oh man,
I thought
when
you
they
never
got-
asked.
that was
The We
that was
Believe?
the funniest trade, bro. Like
That trade.
I think he was the most happiest person out of everybody.
Who are you talking about?
He just want to get out in the
Like
Warriors.
he just wanted to get out of New
No,
Orleans.
no. I'm talking about the other trade for We Believe, the one with Indiana.
Oh, to
with
get
Captain
Harrington
Jackson,
and Steven Jackson.
Steven Jackson,
Al
and
Harrington.
Harrington. That was big.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
but
do remember
big.
that.
Yeah, but like
It
it started
started with
with
Baron
Baron Davis. I think Baron Davis was the happiest to get out of there because he was like, man, that nigga didn't play one game that season. We thought this nigga back was broken.
I know.
And it was like, nigga, we got Baron Davis. This nigga was in the wheel. I seen this
We're
nigga
like,
in the
oh,
wheelchair.
that's cool. They're like, no, that's
Bruh,
cool.
this
We're
nigga hop
gonna
up,
be good next year.
bopping on
Next
nigga,
week,
the next
this
day.
fool was playing. We
He was
like,
playing.
yes,
Right.
yes.
That it was crazy.
That stuck out to me too, for sure.
Yeah.
about that trade.
Yeah,
He
man.
was like, man, is he going to be MVP next year? Like, he was balling.
Yeah.
Yeah, he could do it all.
Nah, bro.
I'm
He
a
was
big
out
guy.
there the next day.
The
Fuck
thing
that.
that stuck out to me was we don't get players like this.
Nah,
Right? And I was like, damn, we got Baron Davis?
Yeah.
Like, we never, these type of players
Now, like,
never, at this time.
the last point guard we got that was a free agent, it was Bimbo Coles, bro.
Right, bro. So I'm like,
So,
damn,
like,
we
come
got
on,
a
bro.
real baller on the squad.
And I mean,
so that brought some excitement. It
Bimbo
brought some
Coles was
life.
cold, but he wasn't Baron Davis.
Yeah, and then then what it turned out to be, it was that was a movement for sure because that rally. Everybody was behind that team, and we had been bad for so long. That little bit of success is all we needed. You know, that was good enough for us. We was all happy about that. We went to the second round, we lost. Even as long as we pushed them a little bit, we didn't just get swept. That it was like a mini championship.
It was the first time we saw the Warriors in the playoffs as adults, and I was like,
And we took out a 1 seed. That was
the first time
crazy.
it happened.
First time a 1 seed ever lost.
Yeah.
Competing.
Yeah, and I was just like, man, this is what it feels like to actually have your team
Yeah.
in the playoffs. I was like, whoa, this is fun.
And I don't know if what I remember about that playoff run was all the yellow shirts at Oracle, right? Was that the first time that
They
'cause
did
I don't
put them on
remember-
the chair. They had the We Believe shirt.
Yeah,
We
but
Believe is the first time
now
I
everybody
remember.
does that,
Yeah.
right? But that was the first time I remember seeing that, and like where everybody in the stadium is wearing the same color for their team,
Right. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Now
but
every
I
team
do-
does
yeah,
that. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Even during like the regular season. But
There's something they probably stole from us, man. That's what you.
You could probably say that.
Put it on the list.
And then
Put it on
Miami
the
was
list.
like, because Miami was with that white hot, they was putting the white T-shirts out and all that.
But that was after. Yeah,
that was after.
That was after. Yeah.
Man, you know what I'm saying.
Well, okay, so that's 2007. A couple years later, Warriors draft Steph Curry, and then then we get to a whole new
Enough
era.
said.
Enough said. Thank you.
And then
Thank you, Steph.
let's see. So 2010 start. 2011, Warriors draft Clay. 2012, they draft Draymond, and I believe I think this is right.
Festus?
They
Happy Festivus.
Yeah, they might have got Festus that same year.
Oh, they
but
did.
this is the year that they
Harrison
traded
Barnes.
Monte Ellis.
Oh, I was
Right,
at
do you
that
remember
game.
that?
I was at that game,
Were they
bro.
booing?
Were they booing
Yes.
him?
Yes.
Were you
Wow.
booing? Or
I was mad as I'm not gonna lie, right? Because just given our history,
I was a big Monte Ellis fan.
yeah, we
Yeah,
all
man.
were.
I try to tell you.
We all were. You were right. So me and Drew was having arguments about it, and like I can see the logic, but at that time, Andrew Bogut was injured.
He was injured.
And it was just like, is this another bullshit like trade that's going to backfire on us? Because like that's what we used
We've
to.
seen it too many times.
We've seen it too many times,
Yeah,
right?
right.
You
That's true.
get rid of a fan favorite, but at the same time, you can see the logic. Like you have.
It was
Steph.
like Chris
hindsight.
Webber for Ronnie Cycli all over again.
No, it was kind of foresight. It was like you just drafted Clay, and he's a big guard, and it was like, man, he's good. You can already see like the potential.
Yeah.
The thing that I don't think that everybody is aware of is that the Warriors offered up Curry or Monte.
No.
Yes, they said take your pick.
They did.
They took Monte.
I don't remember that.
They
I
did.
didn't know that.
That
I
is,
don't, but
They
that
did.
is, I don't remember that. But
That's wild.
that's
This could've been.
100,000% fact,
No,
bro.
I remember that.
100,000%
Yeah.
fact. When I
That's-
put that
But
into the
this is when Curry had them
ankles.
spaghetti ankles.
Yeah, he was rocking the PVC pipes with them top ramen ankle bones, boy. Yeah, thank God for stem cells, boy.
So
And
yeah,
them Under Armours.
He turned into a top 5 player all time, so you know. It
Yeah,
worked
that's
out.
wild.
Yeah, boy.
I'm still
It
recovering.
worked
I
out.
didn't. I think I might have heard that before. Actually, now that I think about it, but yeah, that's pretty crazy.
that is iconic.
That's why Minnesota drafted Johnny Flynn, nigga.
That changed Bay Area sports
Yeah.
as a whole, not just the Warriors, bro. That changed Bay Area sports. When drafting Steph Curry was the beginning of something we never had seen before.
100%.
Well, no, the Niners, we had, with the Niners run,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? We seen
Yeah, but this is
excellence.
the Oakland show. We
But-
weren't talking about that.
Well, that's true, but we grew up. But the Raiders wasn't
Right.
here when we was kids, and so we was with Montana and
For
like
sure.
we were and Young '94. We was all with the Niners, but yeah. But you're right. As Oakland sports fans,
Yeah.
we had never had a superstar on that level. Like,
Nah, but he wasn't a superstar though.
no, he wasn't. But that was just the
It took him
beginning
some
of
time.
what was to come.
Yeah.
I remember when he got drafted, and you know how they have that pro player comp. I remember at that time, it might have
Who was
still
his
been,
comp?
it might have been Jay Billis saying this. It was like, yeah, we think Steph Curry can be Steve Nash light, and I was like, motherfucker, what? Because you remember at that time,
He was a back-to-back
Nash was-
MVP.
yeah, back-to-back
Yeah,
MVP,
back-to-back
pure shooter. He was going 50, 40, 90 all the time. And I was like, man, if Steph can just be half the player that Steve Nash is, we good.
Right.
And now look, like he's like Steve Nash is like half the player Steph is. All respect to Steve Nash, but that's just like how great Steph is.
Nah, he did his thing, and he's still doing his thing. You can't deny his greatness, no matter how you feel.
Yeah,
Impartial, anything. Like,
I mean, I think that 22 title.
That 22
crucial.
title was
Kinda.
amazing.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Do you know this? That Steph Curry is one of 2 players to win a championship without another top 75 player on his roster. He did
Was
it
that
twice.
22?
It was in 22
Oh,
in the
in
first
15?
one. Yeah.
14, 15?
Yeah, I mean, we all agree that Clay should
but
be
that's
on
because
there.
Clay wasn't yeah, okay.
But then if you look at who's not on that list, there's a lot of great players. But anyway, the only other one is Tim Duncan. So that just speaks to Steph's greatness. And, like, he's the greatest player under 6'6". Like, no question. Like, if you had to put somebody, start a list of, like, all-time great
trying to think
players.
of
I can give him that. I'll give him that.
okay.
Yeah. He's the GOAT.
Off the shooting, yeah, for sure.
No, off of playing basketball, my guy.
Well, he don't play defense, but we ain't gonna.
So what? There's a lot of
I
all-time
mean,
greats that don't
he
pass.
plays
part of
team
basketball.
defense.
He
You know what I'm
commits.
saying? He plays within the concept. He does what he's supposed to do. He's not getting blown by. You know what I'm saying? He's not.
No.
And
He's average.
now, he play hard. He does play hard defense.
Well, he does. That's what I'm saying. He's like an average defender.
Yeah, which
Like,
is for his size. Like that's you know what I'm saying. He got to bust his ass.
Yeah, but you see a lot of cats that don't even give effort.
yeah,
right,
they're
on
like
defense.
turnstiles. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he does.
James
But
Harden.
he's not a one-on-one lockdown defender, but he's going to get an effort.
Yeah.
All right, so
out
where
Wardell Street is sneaky strong.
Can I interject real quick? We've
go for
like
it.
skipped through all these errors, but can we like elaborate on Rickey Henderson and like what he means to Oakland sports history? You know what I'm
let's
saying?
do it.
Today, I'm the greatest of all times.
I mean, you know, speaking in third person and everything else to the side, this is the greatest leadoff hitter in MLB history. You know, one of the greatest outfielders, one of the greatest base runners. Like,
Isn't he the greatest base runner? Don't he have like,
Definitely the greatest base stealer.
yeah.
But
yeah, the greatest.
And then
you know what I'm
to
saying?
have him from Oakland and put in the majority of his work in Oakland, because I mean he still went on to New York and other teams and still ball.
Toronto.
But he's known as Oakland A.
Exactly.
You know, and then to have homegrown and we also had Dave Stewart.
Yeah.
Same scenario, same situation. So how rare is that? You got local
That's true.
stars on your team.
Yeah.
And I think to your point earlier, that probably contributed to the sense that you had that like that the
Oakland
A's
pride.
is our team. Or
Nah,
our
for
team.
real.
That's true too. That's true too.
Yeah.
I think there were some local people that ended up on the Raiders, but not impact players like those two. Yeah, Dave Stewart and Rickey Henderson. That's 2 Hall of Famers.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, from Oakland, playing for Oakland. That's crazy.
Winning in Oakland.
Yes.
Yeah,
They
man.
both won.
Yeah.
They both won in '89.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And what's his name? Dave Stewart being one of the black aces, one of the first black 20-game
Yep.
pitchers. It was him, Vita Blue. And it was 4.
Drew Gooden. Are you talking about A's or just black
No,
pitchers?
this was just black pitchers.
Yeah, Drew Gooden.
Yeah, so
Dwight Good.
Dwight Gooden. I was like, that don't even sound right. Dwight Gooden.
Drew Good.
but yeah. That was crazy.
El Cerrito's finest.
Nah, you know,
And I think-
it's a beast too.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's probably I didn't think about that, but I think maybe that's another reason Oakland may have the A's resonated more with, or not to say they resonated more, but that's another connection that we had with the team is that these are our guys, and Rickey. I mean, and both of them. I mean, it was just a beast. Dave Stewart with that mean mug, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? When he's staring at them dudes, we feel like, yeah, nigga, like, you know what I'm saying? When he throwing high and tight and backing them up off the plate, and we feel like, yeah, get his
brim
ass.
roll.
Like, like he represented Oakland. Like, for real. That was our attitude.
Not only that, but also like our era, like we're not them youngsters that like we grew up in the 90s, but we still old enough to recollect like the stickball days and like, you know what I'm saying, cats on the street like still playing strikeout
Yeah, because we did it every day. That was part of life.
You know what I'm saying? Exactly. But like, newer generations don't know nothing about playing baseball on the street.
They don't.
You remember my knuckleball?
Huh?
You remember my knuckleball?
I remember it. You used to have me so mad with that bull.
He's the first one throwing that shit.
A-Trav would be like,
I was striking cats out.
A-Trav would be like, strike 3. I'm like, I only got 2 strikes.
Wait a minute. Remember
about
when Sylvester used to go take us to play softball?
Yeah, I
Like right over there.
the park over there by the bonfire.
By the bonfire
on
yep.
MacArthur, yeah.
Yep.
I remember.
Exactly.
I for sure remember that.
Hell yeah. That was good times.
Yeah, and then that was kind of the beginning of kind of the decline of the black baseball player.
Exactly.
Well.
Yep.
That was the end of that era, the 90s.
It was.
Yeah.
Because, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, everything that was, like,
Well, the American
produced
black.
on
American,
the mainstream.
yeah.
But everything that was produced on the mainstream, like, it was, like, inner city youth, urban youth, they was on the basketball court.
Well, yeah, and also I think I want to say MLB got some flack for this, but they kind of stopped investing in like inner city parks and whatnot.
They brought it back eventually with that RBI program.
The RBI program.
But
man.
you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It took Tory Hunter to be like, man, where the real niggas at?
Yeah.
We're not going to get into all that.
I remember that too.
Bringing it back to, I think we're in the mid 2010s. So 2012, Trey Monte Ellis. But speaking of the A's, I think 2012 is when they start another run of 3 straight playoff appearances. So they're kind of getting, you know. Was this Cespedes?
Cespedes.
Okay,
yeah,
I was going to
Cespedes.
say. Yep.
That was another good squad. Cespedes, Reddick.
Oh, yeah, that was a good squad. Yeah. Josh Reddick.
Who was in the infield? Chapman and
Chapman, Josh Donaldson.
Milton Bradley was like 07, huh? Milton Bradley. When we beat the Minnesota Twins.
Man, I wish he would have stayed with the A. But he didn't stay in the league that much longer after that.
Oh, he's doing good, man.
But I was a big fan.
Big Milton Bradley fan, man. I hope he's doing good.
Beast. Never forget that playoff series with Detroit.
Yeah, he was smacking.
And when he homered from both sides.
Yeah,
That's wild.
Yeah, he came home like, I'm that good.
Yeah.
Man.
For real. They try to give him, like, he got a bad name, whatever, but, like...
He was a hothead, but
he was a good player, man.
He was a hell of a player. But that was a good little run.
Yeah. All right, so now we get to the Dubs dynasty. All right, so 2014-15, this is the first title, right? We all remember that.
The best one.
Crazy, bringing in a chip, baby.
The best one.
That was unbelievable.
So I was in New York at the time, but again, I was still watching every game. I had been watching every game since college, so by this time I had League Pass. I'm staying up till 1 a.m. every night watching Warriors games. Sometimes I stay up till like 3 a.m. because we got a double overtime game. We might lose, so I'm going to bed pissed at 3 a.m. That was kind of Curry's sort of like revelation that like, oh, this guy is different. You know what I'm saying? Because he had been really good, and I would say under Mark Jackson, him and Clay had started to I think Mark Jackson did a lot to give them confidence.
For sure. He laid that foundation for sure.
Yeah, to give them confidence in their shot and be like, look, the light is always green for you guys. And then I think Kerr came in and he made things easier for them, right? Like he opened up the offense and did a lot more things to kind of get them easier shots, which
the motion
flourished
offense,
under. Yeah, exactly. But I mean, that was the year that Steph was like just hitting everything. Had he already started to take the really deep threes yet, or that came like the next?
He did. So the year before, I think we were playing Denver. Yeah, I think it was Denver because Iguodala came over that offseason.
Yep.
And so Ty Lawson was a point guard for the Denver Nuggets, and he wanted to show that he was better than Steph.
Okay.
Steph tore his ass up. Cooked him.
Yeah, Ty was pulling from everywhere.
So I remember that was like when Steph started really becoming, or started running off these strings of 20-point quarters.
Right.
And he just really was just showing niggas.
Yeah.
Steph Curry was amazing that year, but you cannot overlook that whole squad. like Sean Livingston, Leandro Barbosa, David West.
The original strength in numbers.
The original
West
strength
wasn't
in
there.
numbers.
David
David
West.
Lee, Andrew Bogut.
Yep.
Like
Mo
that,
Buckets.
Everybody played a piece.
That whole
Barbosa.
I mentioned, but
my bad.
That whole team, bro.
Top
that
to
whole
bottom.
team. Sean Livingston, man. Come on, bro. You got Leandro Barbosa and Sean Livingston coming off the bench after you got to deal with Klay Thompson and Steph Curry, bro.
Listening
That whole
to
squad
those
was-
names. Go ahead.
No. Go for it.
Those names that you all that you just ran off. Looking back at it now, think about how professional all those dudes were, right? And
Come on, man.
all the veterans that they brought in, that was a perfect mix.
Yeah, it
because they were like they've been there, done that. They know how to play the game and be professionals.
Exactly.
Right? And then it's like we can carry you on, like we can the young bucks.
That's how you
are
had.
coming on, like we
That's
can
how
show
had
you
an
how
Ian
to.
Clark and a Patrick McCaw.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So,
like that's how you had those type of guys.
Because when they had David West
'Cause it was
and Landry,
structure.
but I used to love watching them. I used to because David West would come in and it's like he's
David
setting
West
the
and Carl
tone, bro.
Landry?
Yes, when they had him and
man.
Carl Landry,
Yeah.
There was, and they were, and David West was a pro.
Yeah.
he was a pro's
And
pro.
it was tough.
He was tough as hell.
It was tough,
but but he had that vibe. You know, I never went to practice like that, but he could tell that. You know, he's
he's always
concerned
been
about
he's
playing
always
the
been
game
that
the right way.
professional
And-
though.
yes,
San
yes.
Antonio, Indiana, wherever he's been,
Right.
David West has always been that dude. Like, I want him
So
on my squad. Yeah.
Iguodala kind of had the same impact that Baron Davis had because he was like another significant free agent, like somebody that we don't never get.
That's
like,
true.
Everybody knew like baby AI because you remember he was playing with Iverson, then he went to Denver. Like he was a big addition, and then
Huge.
Me and Jew was talking. As soon as they got Sean Livingston from Brooklyn, remember we was like. We both was just like 100% confident because we could see it building. We were like,
he
we're gonna
had
win
a
the
good
championship
season
this year.
The year before that in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
he did.
And
Like,
you
he
could say
came back.
that Iguodala's acquisition was just as important as Kevin Durant. If not more.
Well, I would. No, you know what? I would agree with that. I would say it's more
Thank you.
because
He was part of the foundation. He was
exactly
part of the foundation.
they was
You
going
had
to
him
win.
coming off the bench.
If they got KD, you're going to win. Period. But that did legitimize. That's why,
that foundation.
this is
destination.
because he's been a number one. He was a number one in Philly after Iverson retired. Right? He's been a number one. You've been successful in Denver. You're making consistent playoff runs and all that stuff. Yeah. None of these dudes know nothing about that.
Right.
You know,
He's
and
just sitting in the background like, do this, do that. I know how to do this, I know how to do that. And I'm just going to get...
You remember
The
everybody
little
started doing the
addition.
ball swipe? Like he was teaching people how to play defense.
yeah,
Like
no, he's
played
one of the
defense.
best I've ever seen.
Right.
With that ball swipe
down.
right at the chest or whatnot. Like,
Yeah, for sure.
You could see it, like in his mannerisms and the way he just showed off. It was like, nigga, I told that nigga to do that. Like, nigga.
That's how he had that palms up. Was his little,
I don't know. That was crazy.
Yeah, so then the other thing that made that team unique was I think Steph was like the shortest player, and everybody else was like in between 6'6", 6'8". Everybody was switchable.
that's
Everybody
true. I
was
forgot
just
about
like,
that. Yeah,
you
yeah.
could just switch everybody. It didn't matter. The other thing that was unique about Steph and Draymond in particular is that they kind of shedded the tweener label, right?
as far as you can't be successful
yeah, exactly.
if you're not a true 1, 2, or
Yeah,
3.
Exactly.
Right.
So Steph, he gets a lot of credit for that because people coming into the league, they was like, man, he's too small to be a shooting guard. He's not a traditional point guard. But he's just a guard. He's a hooper. Draymond was totally different. I don't think Draymond gets enough credit for shedding that label for forwards because he's undersized.
And he's still doing the same.
Yeah. Draymond's a beast. Draymond, you feel me?
Yeah,
So-
no, he's a different breed. He's a Hall of Famer because he was able to take that undersized thing and thrive with it.
Oh, yeah, he's a dog.
He'll have
truly
4 points
underappreciated,
and dominate.
man.
Dominate the game.
Dominate. You'd be like, yeah, he was the best player on the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was just like that team in particular was like ahead of its time for the rest of the league. They just didn't know what to do. They couldn't catch up.
Definitely. And then to pick up off that, bro, that year, third quarters, bro.
Oh my goodness.
Blood.
That's when it was going crazy. They were like winning every third quarter by like
Yeah.
15 points.
And they wouldn't play the fourth. It was like the Warriors would be down.
Wait, was that
They were struggling.
73 and 9 season or that's 2014-15?
That was
Might have been
73 and
both.
9, but it started the year
McAdoo
before.
minutes. McAdoo minutes. We used to call it like
he's
get, get James Michael McAdoo up in here, man.
Yeah.
You know, let him get that run.
Hey, they went on epic third quarters.
Yeah.
They would cut. It's like they would be in the locker room and like telling each other, "Hey, man, I don't want to play in the fourth. Let's come and gas these fools in the third and just get it over with." And that's what they did, man. We watched every game that season. And it's just be like, "Oh shoot!" It'll start off. Curry hit a three, boom, boom. A couple shots go in, and be like, "Oh, here they go."
Yeah.
Here they go.
The other thing is, this is before I think the rest of the league kind of caught up with respect to the 3-point shot, right? Like, you had teams that were shooting a lot of them.
Yeah, they
but-
attempted it.
Yeah, but it wasn't like now. Everybody understands. Okay, that's a good shot. Even if it's a bad shot, sometimes it's a good shot because it's worth more points, right? Like that's understood.
That's what the
But-
analytics say.
Well, yeah, but at the time that the Warriors were doing this, the rest of the league hadn't caught up yet. The rest of the league wasn't
It wasn't
passing
the
up.
rest of
It
the
wasn't.
long two
It wasn't a
pointers for
jump shooting league. It was still drive.
The rest of the league didn't have
Get to the
Steph
whole
Curry
shit.
and Klay Thompson.
Thank you. That's what I was going to say too. They shot a lot of threes, but they were exceptional 3-point shooters.
Yeah.
Because remember, Houston tried to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And they were just going, we're just going to shoot.
Yeah.
Hello threes.
And they never
well,
had the personnel.
They
Even
never-
Mike
it was
D'Antoni
different.
tried it before.
And then they remember
Curry
they missed
and
23 in a
Thompson came
row
out.
in the playoffs.
27.
Yeah.
I guess
Right.
that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I mean, bro, D'Antoni tried it with Phoenix when they had Steve Nash, Tim Thomas, Rajah Bell. Like, you know what I'm saying? That
team was good, too.
Yeah.
And that team was amazing. Like, they was in the Western Conference Finals against San Antonio. But it was the old narrative of you just a jump shot team, man.
Right.
Like, it takes defense when you slow it down to the half court.
Man, Robert Horry slowed their ass down.
Yeah,
That's
I was
the
about to say they should have won that.
That's the only thing that's
Hey, he hockey checked that boy Steve Nash.
Oh. We all know the play against the Clippers where he like dribbles
Ooh.
around everybody.
The meme
Comes
Yeah.
back
behind
to
the
the top of
back.
the key.
Yeah.
When he
Oh,
shook
against Chris
Chris
Paul?
Paul.
He throws his hands up in the air.
Oh, yeah.
Steve Kerr's like,
It was
what
over.
the are you doing? And he just
Oh, the 3-point shot.
He drills. I know which one you're talking
Oh,
about.
I thought you were talking about behind the back when he
On the
shook him
baseline,
and he just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was tearing
Oh, you
his
talking about
ass
on
up.
top of the key when he was
Yeah.
like,
Hell
tap,
yeah.
tap,
Yeah.
and whip. Oh, yeah.
And it was that no, yes.
Yeah,
From
exactly.
Steve Kerr.
Yeah, but my point about that was Steve Kerr's from the era, and we basically all were that.
It's like, I'm here, Mike. Throw it.
Prior to Steph Curry, man, if you took that shot, your ass was likely coming out the game. Like, that is a bad shot.
No, of course.
You know, and Steph just made it acceptable for players after him to like not only take that shot, but like even if you miss that shot,
Bro,
you staying in the
Steph
game.
made Jordan Poole possible, right?
Man, that's
Like,
That's true. And that opened the door, man. That really changed the game a lot, man. To change the style of basketball, man. Once again, you know what I mean? Even when we ain't trying to, man, Oakland is trend setting, bro. So, you know, it is. Y'all better just pay attention, man. Pay attention to what we got going on over here, man.
up.
We want to be ahead of the curve. Feel me?
Come
All
drink
right,
some of this
so-
opening water.
So 15, they win the title. 16, they go 73 and 9. Right now, I feel like we got to talk about this a little bit.
Let's talk about it.
Do we?
Yeah, let's ride.
Let's talk about it.
So the question I have, right, like deep down, how do you feel about that 73 and 9 season?
It was all
What?
business.
Well, about the season, about what happened in the finals, and then what happened in the
All
aftermath.
business. All business. That year, you know, Stephen Curry, Under Armour, you know. And at that time, you know, they getting it. I mean, I can't.
Okay.
I can't
So
quote the numbers
I think-
right now, but you're going against Nike. You get what I'm saying? You got a
You mean
3-1
LeBron?
lead.
You mean
Yeah,
LeBron?
No, you're going against Nike,
Being LeBron.
being LeBron.
Okay.
All right.
So the fix is in already.
No, that fix was in, for sure.
Okay.
You're up 3-1, and like
Hold on.
it just
But
dissolves,
even
bro.
with all that being the backdrop, If LeBron doesn't step over Draymond Green,
He doesn't Draymond doesn't
Hey,
chop
bro.
him.
Exactly.
Hey, bro.
We're 73-9.
Are we
with the
playing
chip.
basketball or is this after school program?
Red,
what
hold
are
on.
we
Yeah,
doing?
LeBron
Red,
started
check
that
this
shit. He
out.
tried to sun that nigga, man. You don't never step over nobody head like that.
Yeah,
And
that
so-
was disrespectful. But
That
the thing
was.
about it is, he's the money.
Hold on.
And he's like, part of Nike.
Red, can you speak to this through the lens of a Warriors fan that you were at that time and not as a current Lakers fan?
That's what I'm doing right now. Draymond, you can say what you want about Draymond, all right? And it's my belief, because of that series, this whole Draymond narrative is here. Because before that,
No,
Draymond...
he had issues, bro.
No.
That was the year he was kicking everybody in the nuts.
No,
and
listen,
all that.
hold on.
He had all them
That's
technicals.
that's why he
That's
got-
why
that's
it
why he
even
got
mattered.
suspended.
Yeah.
My point
Okay, go
being
ahead, go for it.
is Stephen Curry, Under Armour. All right?
Uh-huh.
One superstar here. Got one champion. Under Armour.
Up and coming. Like up and coming. Under Armour.
Like, and you know what I'm saying?
Versus the big
Mind you,
established.
he like trip to China.
big dog.
All the high schools got his shoes on. Nike, like, what the?
Nike, Steph also turned down the Nike, his Nike
sure
deal.
did.
Well, next time
They
come
don't
on,
all
It
his
don't have
ass.
KD's name in his presentation.
No,
was
so check this out.
Don't call him
Check this-
Steven.
So check this out. Right after the 16 series, they get KD.
True.
After the 16 series. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
They
So
get
there
KD.
was a blessing and curse.
So, as soon as you hear about the signing, every department store in this Bay Area, you see, like they had the ready, bro. You see the fucking Nike, like, you know what I'm saying, displays, and like boom, 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 boom. And next thing you know, boom, they back at it. So you get the Nike representative, you know what I'm saying, we can get back in motion. You know what I'm saying?
That
But-
sounds pretty close to a conspiracy for somebody who don't know conspiracies.
Right,
Hey,
for
man,
sure.
you can call it what you want.
So,
Go ahead, let me
I just know how these motherfuckers work.
it was kind of like a revenge tour. It was like, everybody doubted us for the first title. Everybody thought it was a fluke because Kyrie got hurt, Kevin Love was hurt.
That's
Almost
exactly what it was. They
Yeah.
played with that chip on their
So
shoulder.
we played with that shit, and we wanted to dog the fuck out of everybody. And I feel like the city was 100% behind it. Like, nah. It was kind of like they were talking about us. Like we just got over, right? So, yeah, that regular season was special.
You're 100% correct, but I also feel like that that Roracle was a factor too.
Oh, yeah, for
They
sure.
embraced that, and they had so much love from the fans, and
Shout out to the Oakland
we would
fans,
go
man.
wild in there, bro. Now we got to acknowledge Warrior fans. They got fans from all over the Bay,
Yeah.
right? But there was a lot of folks from Oakland that was going to that, and by us being folks that would attend those games and stuff, we knew the vibe, and it was a working class vibe, bro.
We know the atmosphere.
You know
bro.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was another thing about that team.
Mm-hmm.
It was a working class team because we got Steph Curry, who was unknown at the time. Like he was a great shooter in college, but he came from a really small school. He was undersized.
He had to
He
work
was getting
for it.
injured in the beginning. We didn't know he was going to turn out to be like this. Draymond Green, second round pick. Klay Thompson. He was out of all of them. He was probably the surest bet.
I ain't gonna lie, I always had faith in Draymond. I'm just gonna let it be known
told
right
you.
there.
Draymond was
College
always a good
basketball,
player.
Michigan
We
State.
watched him in
Michigan
Michigan
State.
State,
I was like,
and we
man.
knew he was a good player,
always knew.
but we
I was
didn't
like-
know how it was going to translate to the league, right?
Right.
And it's just a trip because as this is like an Oakland theme thing, that team I feel like really embraced the city. They embraced Oakland. Oakland was behind them for sure, but it was like it was that working class, that hard nose, that like the fans. We come in there, or we came to some games, but we went at most. But the fans that was going there, right? They said, "Well, what can we do?" Well, we finna be the loudest fans in the NBA, right? We finna get so loud in here. We gonna pump our team up because we've been so used to losing. But the NBA is a good product. So even when your team is bad, you can still see other good teams coming in and see some good ball, right?
Oh, man.
So just to cap off, I'm saying, man, that team Oakland represented that team, and that team represented Oakland at the same time.
100%.
Well, the thing I want to go to, though, right, was, so we all know what happened. But then I think an interesting question that I had one answer to probably for a while, but now I'm not sure what my answer is, so given what happened and given the aftermath, right, like, would you trade a chip in that 73-9 season for what happened after, right? So if we win,
No, I get what you're saying. No, hell no.
KD doesn't come.
Yeah.
Right? We probably run it back with that team, but, you know, eventually some things may change and whatnot.
Yeah, I would.
Versus we get KD. Now I'm gonna say how I feel as a fan, because I mean, I'm a fan. I'm a diehard Warriors fan, right? I was a fan of the KD years, right? But I also can say, like, it didn't hit the same. Winning in those years, it didn't hit the same as 2014-15. That's part of the reason why for me 22 was so special, because 22 felt like the legitimate sequel to 2015-16. It was like we were back to sort of the strength in numbers, basically. I mean, it wasn't exactly the same, but it was like it wasn't this juggernaut, and we were back to being underestimated, whatnot, and we just did that.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I totally agree with you, bro.
And so, but I'm gonna be honest, like, and this is, and we'll talk about this. I think I got this written down somewhere coming up, but like, I got a lot of respect for KD, and as a fan, I got a lot of thanks for KD, because, bro, after the 73-9 season ended and we lost, but I wasn't watching Sports Center. I wasn't affiliated with. I wasn't even like. I was in a dark place. You know what I'm saying?
We were over there,
right?
Yeah. Because that was
on
going to be
Red's birthday. It was Father's Day and Red's birthday when we lost.
It was Father's Day that day, and that that was going to be, if they win that chip, it's the greatest team ever.
Exactly. So think about this, right? If we go back into that season with the same squad, right? We run it back.
Which season?
And if we go back into the season after we won 73-9, but we lost in the finals, right? The season after that, what are we getting up for, right? We just won 73 games and lost the title. So there's nothing that can happen during the regular season
that matters.
And like, that is a crazy place to be as a fan, because it's just like there's nothing you can really be invested in.
That's definitely where it was.
And what KD coming over did is it allowed us to kind of like enjoy, like, oh, now we're incorporating a new element. Let's see what this team can do, like, yada yada. And it allowed the fandom to feel good for that season.
For sure.
That's true, but it also took away the regular season to a lot of people too. Because like, this don't mean nothing.
Yep.
Let's get to the playoffs. That's all I want to see. Because now we got a closer.
We was already on that type of time.
We didn't play ISO ball, right? We played motion, right? But at some time, it always came down to, at the end of the game,
who gonna make them?
Who can get that bucket, right? And Curry, at that time, like,
he was still
I love
developing
Curry,
that part of his game.
but he was still developing that part, his one-on-one game, right? And KD was or I should say maybe the ISO game, but KD was an ISO expert.
I mean, he had the back-to-back years where he was hitting the three over, I think, LeBron.
KD hit over LeBron,
left wing.
Yeah, and so, and Steph wasn't doing that, and it's not a knock on Steph, but KD is freaking 6'11" or whatever, 6'10", and
6'13",
right? And so, yeah. So,
but
that definitely gave us.
I agree. I kind of get your point, but also I kind of disagree with it, because I would trade that 73-9 team, that team
to win and no KD.
I
would too.
In a heartbeat.
I would.
In a heartbeat.
I would.
Listen, and this is why.
Yep.
Because, KD's a great player, and that was fun to watch. But when you really get down to it, when it comes down to, like, competition,
after that,
there's no excuse. Like, on a competition like an old school competition. I mean, somebody can hear like, oh, he's an old nigga. But at the end of the day, when it comes to competition, shit was whack. You know what I'm
Is
saying?
anybody here a fan of greatness?
Thank you.
Like, what the fuck? Are we really gonna trade in that season for KD? Like, nah, man, that's part of our journey. You feel me?
Bro,
We've been
what's
talking
greater than the greatest season ever?
a great player coming.
No, see, the thing about it is, but the thing about it is, right? Like we said, if it wasn't for that bullshit with Draymond and LeBron, when LeBron really instigated that shit, he knew what he was doing.
Look, man.
Yeah, because he went to the press conference.
Like,
the first thing he said was, they need to review that. The league needs to review that.
Yeah, man, we lost that. We thought we were going to win, and then we get KD, who was arguably the greatest player in the NBA at that time. After he won that first title, he was the greatest player in the NBA.
I agree.
You feel me? Like, no question. Yeah, man, I fully embrace him as one of ours. So, like, I wouldn't trade that.
Like, so I did say that I would trade the championship for KD only because that 73-9 season now is kind of forgotten. Like,
You can't-
for the basketball heads,
it's a lack
they're gonna
of that.
remember. They're gonna remember that and
It's
all
lack
that
of
stuff.
that.
But
You're not gonna wear no
it's-
hat that says 73.
Right.
Or nothing
It's not
to say you
respect.
can't-
And anytime they
Right.
see that
You
73
can't
and
bring it
9,
up.
they know what happened. Like, nigga, y'all
So-
won 73 games?
Exactly.
What?
And so even if we never win another, if we get those two, but one of those were with the 73-9, but we can still say, but we had the greatest team in NBA
Greater
history.
than the 90s.
And it's like,
Still
and it's debatable.
No,
but
but, yeah, that's- I know
73 and
exactly-
like, you know what I'm saying?
I know
We
exactly- that's
completed
why-
That
that's- to me,
73
that's
and
why it's
9
such an
team
interesting
is
question.
just as good as that fucking Patriot team that lost to
Right,
the
the
Giants.
16-0.
To what you were saying, Marcus, I think I don't know that I would change the way things went. For a long time, though, I did like for even as we were winning titles with KD, I still had the thought like, if I could trade this for a chip at the end of that 73-9, because for me, maybe everybody felt like this, but I feel like I never got to revisit and reminisce that 73-9 season, because there was a lot of stuff that happened, right? That was the double bang when in the double or the overtime game in OKC when Steph hits the 38-foot or whatever it is, right? There was the playoff series where we come back from down 3-1 against OKC. Clay goes crazy. Like, there was a lot leading up to that title, and it was like the whole time you're just waiting to exhale. You're like, okay, and then the finals come, and you're up 3-1, and it's like, okay, when we get this fourth win, like, I'm going crazy, and it never came. And so there was just this like pent up, like unreleased energy. And then for me, you didn't talk about that season after that. You couldn't look back. Even honestly, like, even when I see the double bang highlight, they'll play on ESPN, it's like a part of me remembers still like, oh, shit, that was and it's like, that
brings
to me,
up-
that's what I was robbed of
For
as
sure.
a fan. Is
Yes.
like the ability to look back fondly on that season,
sure.
which was the greatest regular season ever.
Yeah, I have 73-9 stuff to your point that I don't wear.
All right, well, I mean, we're basically kind of at the end of the historical recap. So we had Dubs win it, then we got 73-9. KD comes, Dubs win title again, right? 2017-18. We kind of talked about that. And then the last thing, and I don't know if anybody has thoughts on this, but so 2019, you just brought this up. 2019 Dubs lose, KD leaves. How did you guys feel about KD's departure?
Bye, nigga.
Honestly, I was mad at Draymond because I felt like he kind of made it easy for him. Now, KD,
Already had his mind made up.
right? He did. Which, come to find out, he did, because I remember he did a press conference when he was still thinking he had that 6 on his.
7.
Oh yeah, the 7, and then boom, that's his number in Brooklyn and blah blah blah. So yeah, I was pissed off at the situation, but I kind of felt I wasn't hella mad at KD because I'm like, I felt he felt pushed out a little bit. And then I felt like Draymond was just being an asshole because this is probably the greatest basketball player on planet Earth, right? And when he's saying, pass me the ball,
Pass that nigga
the ball. I'll say it like this. I was disappointed at KD for leaving, but I was mad at Draymond for kind of forcing him out for the way that, if KD stays, like we're winning championship every year, that he's there and he's healthy. You don't push a dude out like that.
That's
Draymond,
true.
You never been a superstar like that, right?
But
you're
he's been a
star.
champion.
Yeah, so was KD at that point.
No.
Yeah, he
Draymond was a champion before
So
KD.
what?
That's why he said what he said, bro.
So what I'll say is,
And they lost that game.
in this,
They lost that game, right? Because he didn't pass the ball. Yeah. Do you want the ball to be in Draymond's hand at the end of the game or KD's hand at the end of the game? I think Draymond always talk about his basketball IQ. Anybody with eyes know you give KD the ball in that situation, bro. So, Draymond's hella hard-headed.
That KD did.
Yeah, and that's why they lost, right?
But they won in 2022.
No, I'm talking about that game. They lost that game.
About the game when they got to the...
Yes, he made the wrong decision that game.
Yeah.
He should have passed the ball to KD.
Okay.
And then you definitely don't call him no bitch. In the huddle, when KD say, man, why you didn't pass you the ball? He say, fuck you, bitch. So who are you, man?
Man, I'm pretty sure KD's called him a bitch before, too.
I doubt it, bro.
No, he's
doubt
no.
Not in that context.
So the only thing I would say, right, is to me, that 22 title is worth about 3 titles with KD, right? Like in terms of what it meant as a fan. And so
I thought we were talking about the one before that, and then
no. So what I'm saying,
but I agree.
Where I'm going with that though is that, and this gets to how I feel about KD. I was actually fine with him leaving because I understood, like, he wasn't getting any respect for what he was doing, right? Like, he wasn't getting it from from outside the Bay Area. From
He was getting
media.
it from me.
Yeah, he was getting it from me.
Definitely was getting it from me.
But even
no,
Warriors
the
fans,
narrative was
even Warriors
the
fans,
super team
it was Steph's team. It wasn't KD's. Even though he was putting in work in the finals, he was hitting the shots over LeBron. It was still Steph's team that he came to be a part of, right? And that's how the talking heads were talking about it. The all sort of like the media folk and whatnot. So he was at the top of the mountain, winning back-to-back titles, and he still wasn't getting sort of the credit and respect.
He let the media his bag up and his legacy.
Yeah, but at a certain point, like, right. if we win 5 titles, right? Like,
people will forget, just like they forgot about LeBron.
I don't think I feel like
people forget what?
Bro. I feel like it was always going to be Steph's team that he joined, and I feel like I understand why he wanted to.
Because KD has always been the sniper. His name is Easy Money Sniper because he was brought to the Warriors like a fucking mercenary.
LeBron,
like he was just a hired hitter.
Yeah, but I think
that's it.
He was, but historically, cats with that amount of skill had their own team. Right,
he did.
But
sure.
he did. Well, yeah. Well, even in OKC, it wasn't just his team.
Westbrook
like that.
was the alpha, but
right.
so like with LeBron,
because that was demeanor alone. If you go off skill, KD was that nigga.
He always was.
And like if he had the demeanor of Westbrook,
he was that nigga on the Warriors.
They would have had
the
rings that they wanted.
team.
You get what I'm saying?
He was more skilled. I mean, bro, come on, bro. He was better than Steph.
No, like, listen, man. Like, we talking how we talking about KD. KD is one of the most skilled basketball players on the planet.
But it was still Steph's team.
But it is still Steph's team because he is a hired mercenary. Bro, listen, 2014-15,
Sure.
before that,
Steph is the
OKC
homegrown
was the cream of the
kid.
crop of the Western Conference, bro. They are the ones that dethroned Kobe Bryant. You get what I'm saying? That OKC team with Westbrook, Harden, and Durant, Adams, Ibaka, they were the ones that dethroned the Lakers.
look, man.
Nah, but for real though,
I think we gotta give KD his props for what he did as a Warrior, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
No, I think
but we won before. We won without KD.
Thank you.
We
Now
won before
get into
KD.
it.
We won after
Now
KD.
we get into it.
Right.
That's
I
all
think
I'm saying.
I think he.
That's all I'm saying.
He provided the opportunity. Like he basically.
I think they would have got rings without him.
They did, but they wouldn't have 4.
No, I think they could have had 4 with or without him.
So yeah, when KD left, man, I was in Puerto Rico, man. I was at the place where they were famous for pina coladas or whatever, right? Like the original spot. Having a good time, a good day. Weather's perfect. And like I'm anticipating, like this is in the back of my head every day, like, man, I want KD to stay so bad. Right. And man, I remember looking at my phone and I see him in a black 7 Brooklyn jersey. It fucked up the rest of my day. Like I was hurt when KD left. And I was one of those fans that always kind of pushed back because I love KD. I love what he did for me as a sports fan and what he did for the city. And I felt like Steph and KD can coexist, right? I felt like, yeah, Steph was ours because he was homegrown, but KD was also ours too because he is part of the family now.
Because he chose.
Yeah,
right,
he chose to be part of the family. And I just wish that KD didn't let all the outside noise. I think another thing, man, Bob Myers, that was a poorly timed joke at the parade, right? You guys remember that when he was like...
Yeah, he said something about his contract or something, like renewing it.
No, he said...
He's talking about...
oh, you just came, like these guys built it or whatever he said. And that's not funny, bro. I kind of cringed. And
That's why Bob Myers like.
Right,
He
he
was
still
on
got
the-
him to do a signing trade though on the way out. So
because he's a player, bro.
Yeah.
I love KD.
He did, yeah.
I love KD. And, you know, obviously, like, something was missing that he had to go somewhere else to find. You feel me? I wish it was different. Because for me, so my whole thing with bringing up LeBron, I forget, but somebody told LeBron was like, man, do what you're going to do because history is not going to remember the nuance. They're only going to remember the results. So now if you go back and talk about LeBron, like, oh, yeah, he left and went to go join Dwayne Wade, people going to be like, bro, so what? Like, he's great. He won. I felt like KD could have been the same. Like, you could have won a couple more titles, like, when you got back, and your legacy would have been cemented. Like, in 10, 20 years, do you really think they're going to be like, oh, but he left OKC and joined them? Like, no.
No, but I think
about
during the moment when you're living through it, because I know this as a fan, those titles and those seasons, they did not hit the same as 2014-15 and 2015-16.
Yeah,
Nothing's like your first time.
But
like your
it
first,
wasn't
and we
just
didn't
that. It wasn't
expect
just that aspect of it. It was the
was too
fact
easy.
that it was we were.
We expected a championship. It was championship or
expected-
bust.
yeah.
It was literally championship or bust.
Yeah, and
I like that level of
and
greatness.
we were getting no credit because everyone was saying, "Oh, it's unfair. You got
Yeah.
this judge." So
Yeah,
there was a
everybody's
point where it's
complaining.
like,
Yeah,
I
there's
love
no
it.
like merit to it.
in the moment, it was difficult to enjoy it. As it just didn't feel.
It didn't feel
Man,
like
I
that.
felt like, the person that's getting slapped in their face, they gonna complain, bro.
Right.
The one that's getting slapped around all the time, they gonna complain. They don't
didn't
like
hear us
that.
for the last 20 years.
Right, and so
Yeah.
I felt no sympathy
Yeah.
for anybody that did that. Steph, he made the team. He legitimized the Warriors. That first chip, that kind of legitimized them, right? But then when KD came in, it just solidified the Warriors because we never get these players.
Yeah.
We never have these kind of players. So we got our homegrown dude from Steph, but we have never been a destination where people want to go, right? Yeah. So that's why I was all for it because I'm like, nobody ever wants to come here, right? So, yes, that just solidified not the Warriors, part of the Warriors, but in my mind, that solidified Oakland as a basketball city, right?
And that's my point.
Where did he want to go? He wanted to go to Oakland.
Right.
Okay, so jury's still out on KD. That's
for me.
departure.
You feel me? Curry ain't take no L's.
Not for me. You can come back now, KD. Straight up.
Yeah, y'all need him.
I think what we're gonna do right now, we're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk through some questions about the city of Oakland and the impact of the sports teams that departed. So actually, I lied. We're gonna break this up into a two-parter. There's a lot of ground to cover. I mean, I think we spent the last hour on the Warriors, and there's even there's some stuff that we missed going through the errors that we probably want to touch on. So we'll do that and more. We'll get to the questions about the impact on Oakland and all of that in part 2 of this episode. So this one was a long one. If you're still here, I hope you enjoyed it. But for now, we'll say goodbye. And as always, remember, Oakland is as Oakland does. Stay grounded and spread love. Peace out, y'all.
California, now for 6-1 up.